Hello, my name is Hakon and welcome back to my channel where today I'm going to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to do an unboxing as well. I just received this today. This is the iConnectivity Mio XM MIDI interface, and the reason I'm getting this, I'll get back to that in a moment. First, I will mention that I made a video a while back about this. This is a MIDI USB host. And this is an absolutely brilliant device that lots of people don't know about because it allows you to plug in a USB-only MIDI controller and send and receive messages from a DIN MIDI-only device. So this actually is what you need to connect absolutely any MIDI device to any other MIDI device. So, and I use it for my MIDI Fighter Twister particularly, which is USB only. But there are a few occasions, of course, when this is not enough. For instance, what if you have more than one USB MIDI device you want to host? I've also got a keyboard, for instance, that is USB only, and that's my favorite keyboard. It's a Korg Micro Key. Yeah, I know it's not everyone's favorite. I really love it. And there are also occasions where I will want to communicate with several MIDI devices, and not all MIDI devices have MIDI through or a MIDI out that also sends signals through. And lots of MIDI devices, both the ones that receive or send MIDI, can only do it on one channel at a time. So there are solutions for this. First of all, you could use a MIDI router / interface together with a computer. And of course, on a computer, you can get multiple USB hosting if you like. And you can also translate and reroute MIDI. You can change channels, for instance. You can say that CC1 is now going to be sent to CC2 on this channel, etc. But if you want to do this outside of a computer, there are very few options available, and really this is one of the very few that exist. There is the iConnectivity. They make different MIDI interfaces. This is the medium-sized one, and there's also a full rack width version as well, which has more MIDI ports. And the reason I'm getting this is because I want to host multiple USB MIDI devices at the same time. So that's the MIDI Fighter Twister and my Korg Micro Key. And I want to send signals from those devices directly or via my Zoya, which is DIN MIDI. And I want to be able to connect several devices. So either I would have to get a MIDI interface for my computer and a MIDI through box, or I could get something like this, which actually turns out to be cheaper than any other option, and it does everything in one box, because this can host, I think it is up to 4 USB MIDI devices, and otherwise it has several DIN MIDI ports. It can work as a MIDI interface with a computer. It can also do MIDI over network cable as well. I'm just going to open the box now and show you a little bit about it and tell you a bit more about why I chose this. Looks like I need a knife to unseal the box here. There we go. So here we have cables. So we got a USB type A to type B hosting cable for connecting to the computer. We've got a network cable which can connect different devices that do MIDI over network. Of course, I can connect this to my computer, and the network interface of my computer should also work for MIDI, and that would, in theory, be more stable than USB as well. There is the different country plugs for the power adapter, and then there is the device itself. can get this. It's actually surprisingly heavy. Let's see, this doesn't seem to be any manual. That is actually becoming quite common now, that because there are so many updates with these things, that it's almost expected that you should go online to find out what's going on. So I'm going to start with my UK plug here. I'm going to put the rest back in the box for now. Let's see. Oh, this is a different model to the ones you usually see. So it's like, let's see, is there a particular direction this has to go in? There we are. Okay. Okay, that seems quite good. So I'll just move this box aside. I'll have to take this out of the plastic first as well. And I'll just get the box out of the way. Right, so here we have the device itself. It's quite small. This is half rack width, I think. Nice solid feel to it. So we got here 2 of the MIDI ports are on the front. I'll just move it a little bit so you can see it better in the light there. We got the MIDI over network, and we got the door connection is also on the front. Surprisingly, I would have liked that on the back. Got an on-off switch, I think, on the side there. And then on the back, we have 4 MIDI USB hosting ports, and we got inputs in and out, MIDI in 1, 2, 3, and our power connector. There's also a chassis ground connector there as well. And that's pretty much it. So the idea now is that with this box, and this is what makes this absolutely brilliant, because what I have is, if you watched my videos, you may have noticed I have 2 Kilpatrick Phenol modular synths, and they receive MIDI on MIDI channel 1 only, which means that if I want to send MIDI to both of them at the same time, they would automatically receive the same MIDI unless I had a device that could translate 2 different channels of MIDI into 1 channel of MIDI each that goes on 2 different outputs. So, for instance, so I send something from my Zoya, and I send it on channel 1 and channel 2. And I want channel 1 to go to one synthesizer, and I want channel 2 to go to another synthesizer. And I can do that with the Mio XM because inside this device here, and of course you set it up on the computer, and once you've set it up, you can actually use it without the computer, which is brilliant as well. I can say that the MIDI that's coming in on channel 2 is going to be sent to a particular output on the Mio XM, and the MIDI on channel 1 is going to be sent to a particular output. But I can also say that the MIDI on channel 2 should be sent to a particular output, but it will be sent as channel 1 MIDI, or all channels if you like. So that means that I can have 2 different outputs of MIDI that both send out on channel 1 2 different signals from one source. And that means that both of my phenols will then receive different MIDI messages. And that is the main reason why I decided to go with this one. And of course, I do have more than one device to start with that I would want to control. So the alternative was to get some kind of MIDI router. But then I wouldn't be able to host more than one device because I still had only one MIDI USB host. And I still wouldn't be able to reroute the channel 2 MIDI from one device onto channel 1 MIDI for a particular output. So this sort of solves several problems in one go at a very reasonable price. Currently, it's about £200. So yeah, it's really good value for money the way I can see it, because something like this costs almost £100, and this does definitely more than twice as much as this. So yeah, so I'm going to do more videos about this to demonstrate how it actually works at some point, but that's my introduction to it. That's the way I understand how it works, and I hope I'm right. I have read the manual and it looks like it does exactly what I want it to. And that is to be able to send and receive MIDI, and I can be really flexible about the routing, and also I can translate signals from one CC to another CC, or from one channel to another channel, or both. So it can do it all. So this is the ultimate MIDI Swiss Army tool, the way I see it. So that is the iConnectivity Mio XM, and it seems on paper to be an absolutely amazing device, and I hope that the reality will turn out to be true to the idea of it. So that's all I wanted to show you today, and I hope you enjoyed watching that. And of course, if this turns out to be the kind of device that you want, I'll put a link to how to get one in the description as well. And thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please like, share, comment, subscribe, join me on Patreon, buy me a coffee, etc, etc. At the moment I am not monetized, which means that every little bit of support that I get actually makes a big difference to me to keep this channel going. So thanks in advance, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now. Bye bye.